absolutely love what you guys have built at the Fourth Effect, and we're super proud to be partners with you. And the truth is, if we don't make more $1 million women, more women earning over $1 million in their business, then there won't be women to serve on boards or to be the next investors. There is this huge transfer of wealth happening right now where more and more women are building and selling businesses. There are huge amounts of money being transferred through inheritance. It's called the Great Wealth Transfer. You can read about it. About 30 trillion is going to be in the hands of women in the next 20 years or so. So that creates a really big opportunity for women to invest in each other, join each other's boards, and really create a whole new ecosystem. That's what the Fourth Effect and Million Dollar Women and all our other partner organizations are all about. We're all part of a big puzzle trying to close this economic gender gap and make it such that organizations like ours are really just for amazing women to come together and help each other, and not always having to bring up all these statistics that Breen and I are always sharing about, how dire it is for women. But so that's an exciting future to look forward to, when we have many more women who are investing in each other, joining boards, and Breen, what you've done to facilitate that, you and Kat, it's brilliant. I had multiple boards for my various companies I've run, and it was always very catch as catch can how to find those board members. So huge thanks. And if you are attending today because you're like, okay, that's great, there's going to be 30 trillion in the hands of women, but what's going to be in my hands at the end of 2023? There is something called, well, we're calling it in the Million Dollar Women community, a quiet recession going on. You're not reading about it in the paper every day. People aren't saying like they were a few months ago, like, oh my God, the recession's coming, batten down the hatches. But what we're hearing from our 20,000 women across the country is that people are being slower to say yes. Budgets are shrinking. People are fearful about making decisions and committing. If you're hearing any of those things in your business, please just put yes in the chat. Or if you're killing it, great. Maybe you could say, actually, we're having our best year yet. But I would love to take the temperature of everyone who's here for this workshop. Okay, yes, you are all experiencing this quiet recession. So rather than get depressed about that, because one could, what can we do to be the most competitive and the most client and customer friendly with our business? And really, you're doing it right now. It's taking the time to work on the business, not in the business. I know you're all so busy, and some of you have children and taking care of aging parents. So take a minute and just pat yourself on the back for being here. Just right here. We can all do it, right? Pat yourself on the back. You get to do too, Breen and Kat, because you brought me in. Because this is how you're going to grow your business. Learning from people who are ahead of where you are, getting access to tools and resources. You're going to walk away today with the most popular tool in the Million Dollar Women community that we have hundreds of women using who've gotten to 5 million, 10 million. They're still using this tool because it's simpler and easier to use than what their bookkeeper or accountant gave them. So stay tuned. That's going to happen at the end. You're each going to get your own copy, and I'm going to help you figure out how to use it in case you're having a little numbers panic attack. Like, I hate spreadsheets. What are you talking about? I'm going to walk you through how to use it. It's very easy. That's why it's so popular. So let us dive in. Today is all about setting your strategy. And really what we're trying to do is help you get to a place where you feel more confident about what you can bring in these last few months of the year. And if you're watching this when it's January 1st, it's still going to be relevant. These are all the tips and tricks that we teach to the women who have made 500,000, 800,000, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million in our community. So here we go. Let's jump right in. Loving the new name, the Fourth Effect. And here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about strategy shifts that have made a big difference for women running businesses across the country. So you get to hear, some real live stories. I'm going to share some success stories, and maybe one of those stories will give you an idea of something you can change. We're going to talk about what does it take to get to 1 million? That's a lot about strategy. If hard work and hustle were enough, you would all be at 1 million already. So clearly there's something other people are doing that you're not doing if you're not at 1 million yet. And if you are there, fantastic. I'm sure there'll still be something that's relevant today. But given that just 2 to 3% of women who run businesses in America ever get to 1 million, chances are most people on this call are not there yet. And that's fine. That's great. That's what we're here for. We're going to do a couple of exercises together. The first one is something that we'll start and then you can finish at home or with your team, just for the sake of time. Then we're going to talk a little bit about our accelerator that has helped hundreds of women to double their revenues and get to 1 million in case you're serious about growing your business in the next few months. And then at the end, we'll walk through this projections calculator and you'll hop off with that tool you can start using right away and hopefully for years to come. So, tiny bit about me. I am an unlikely entrepreneur in that both of my parents were academics. My father invented a language teaching method. So, I grew up speaking multiple languages, including French, and always thought that was the best gift my parents ever gave me. And when I had my first son, who just started at college, I can hardly believe it, I wanted to teach him French. And there was nothing on the market to teach little kids a foreign language. So I created Little Pim. That was the name of this little character you see here, the panda bear. So picture if like the Cookie Monster could teach you French, Spanish, Chinese, Italian. We had 13 languages. It was a multimedia program. And I was so passionate about helping other parents be their children's first language teacher. Kids learn languages best 0 to 6. I was helping my son to learn French. I could help thousands of other parents. And that passion and hard work got me to about 400,000 in revenues with that business. But when I got to 400,000, I hit a really big ceiling. I had not gone to business school. I did not have a finance background, and I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I started to get really exhausted, really demoralized. And if anyone's feeling that way now, I really, really feel for you, especially when we're having one of these quiet recessions or loud recessions. It's harder. It's harder to get up every day and believe in this. It's harder to push everything forward. You have to push forward. So I got to that place where I thought, you know what, maybe it's not even worth it anymore. And I was thinking about closing down the business when my lawyer said, well, how about you join this entrepreneurs organization? They have a program for people trying to get to 1 million. I'll give you the short version because I want to get into the teaching, but I joined within a year. I had hired people away from Disney, streamlined my business, ultimately went out and raised 6 million in venture capital and got the business into the multi-millions. So that was fantastic. I had a team of 10. We had an office in Union Square. I'm right here in New York City. But then I had a new problem, which is that all the women disappeared from the room because with a little research, I found out that just 2 to 3% of women ever get to 1 million. And for women of color, it's fewer than 1%. So that was when I decided to start teaching women how to scale their businesses. Did that for a couple of years, had a partnership with Morgan Stanley, still running Little Pim, the language teaching business. Ultimately wrote the book, $1 Million Women, which you can find on Amazon. It's a great little tutorial and guide about how to get to 1 million, telling a lot of stories of women who got there and what they did, including my story. And ultimately left Little Pim in the hands of a new CEO, went onto the board per boards, got a lot of board experience, and decided to launch $1 Million Women. We're now heading into year 8. We have helped 1.2 million women to scale up their business through online programs, summits, books, podcasts. I have a second book out, Go Big Now, all about the mindset to go big. And that's for just people in corporate or entrepreneurs. And I'm living my best life because this is my 4th career. And if I have multiple career people here, I see you. And now my passion is really to help other women get there faster than I did. I could have gotten to 1 million years earlier if I'd had access to workshops like these, communities like Breen's, and of course, communities like $1 Million Women, where we have women learning, scaling tips and secrets all day, every day in our online platform, and then taking our 12-week business program, which you'll hear about in a little bit. So jumping in, I want to start with a little inspirational video. So this is Mia Henry. She runs a coaching and consulting business in DE&I. And when she came to us, she was making $250,000 in revenues. Through a combination of using the very same projections calculator you're about to get your hands on and some live coaching, and I'm going to play your little 1-minute video so you can meet her, she was able to get to 500,000. So we have a very short video where she tells you about that.
I set a goal to reach 500,000, which was more than double my revenue in 2021. I got clear on my ideal client. I got clear on my offer. And then that helped, of course, get clear on my messaging. Doing the projections calculator, being able to break it down into quarters of what I needed to do in order to reach my revenue goals has helped me absolutely get there. So thanks to Julia and $1 Million Women in the community, I felt encouraged all along the way throughout this year. And yeah, it's really paying off. I'm super excited.
So that is how I want all of you to feel, super excited. And also it's a reminder that even if you're having a tough year, even if it's been your worst year ever, that could all turn around. That's the beauty of running your own business. You get to get up and invent it every single day. And the past is not a determinant of the future. I always like to say your past is not your future unless you decide to drop anchor and live there. So please don't do that if you're not enjoying where the company is now. And let's get you some resources to take it bigger. So here is someone who came through our program named Erin Rowe. She's a New York founder. She has a company called All Spring, where she had this cool idea to put 1,000 coaches into the pockets of millennials in the workforce who usually couldn't afford coaching, didn't get a big professional development budget. When she came to us, she hadn't had any sales training. She didn't have her strategy dialed in. We worked with her for about 6 months, and ultimately she got into Google Black Founders Fund. She had a $250,000 investment and joined a local VC accelerator called Antler, where she met her co-founder. They are now on fire building this business. Oh, right, I had to update this. First she raised 250 and then she got it up to 350 when I talked to her recently. And that was just through some small strategy shifts, increasing her ability to sell and getting her mindset into the right place. Here's Monica Freeborn. She's based out in Nebraska and has a home furnishings company called Amethyst Home, where they're selling rugs, couches. We helped her to make shifts that were really about highlighting the high-end products right on her homepage, were kind of her lower sale items. And having run a product company, I knew how important it was to get people buying, the big packages. So we helped her make those shifts, hire the right people, outsource and delegate more, get her sales dialed in, which you'll hear is a theme. I'm very intent on helping more women master sales because most of us have not had sales training, and that really keeps our businesses small. And she has now reached 2 million and is growing quickly. So if you need a new couch or a rug, check her out online, Amethyst Home. And we have her video on our website at millionwomen.com if you want to hear that full story. But just a little inspiration to get started. Last one is Shelly, based in Florida. She ran a pole fitness studio where women would come in and work out and get their sexy on at the same time. So when she came to us, she was like, you know what? I don't want to be standing here all day teaching anymore. I've been doing this for 8 years. I'm getting tired. She wanted to have a baby. So we said, all right, how can we make this more scalable? Sometimes it's not about throwing away everything you're doing. It's just finding the scalable part of your business. Right before the pandemic hit, she decided to launch an app that came out of her going through our accelerator program to make it more scalable. Well, 3 months into lockdown, I got a text from her and she said, actually it was a DM on Facebook, I remember, because I almost missed it. And she was like, Julia, you're not going to believe this. I just made $108,000 in 3 months. And that is more than I've ever made in a full year. This app allowed women to get the pole sent straight to their home and then do the workout with her through the app. She is now on her way to 3 million in revenues and just had twin girls a few months ago. So if you follow her on Instagram, you'll get to see the whole story. Highly recommend it. Fit to Flaunt is her handle on Instagram. So I hope those are all inspirational to you. Shelly was the first entrepreneur in her family. That was the same for all 3 women. You don't have to have come from a trust fund or a long line of entrepreneurs to make a few shifts in your business, usually in your strategy, that allow you to get from that $100,000, or in my case, $400,000 stuck place into $1 million, 2 million, and on your way to 5 and 10 million. So what are all these women doing that maybe you're not doing, or maybe you're doing some of it, but not all of it? Well, over the years coaching, we've realized that you just have to get 4 things right in order to have $1 million business. And so we're going to share those things here. It's mindset, strategy, money, and team. We're here working on strategy. So again, that's why you get to pat yourself on the back. You're 1/4 way there in the fact that you even came today. And so what all these women are doing is they're up-leveling their mindset. You can't get the same results with the same thoughts. So that's something we all have to work on. And it's part of why I got trained in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and wrote a whole book on mindset. So that's a whole other teaching, but that's a very important piece of getting to $1 million. The second part is having an actual strategy. Most women who call $1 million women say, oh, I think I need a new website, or I just have to hire an assistant. They have all these notions of what needs to happen to make more money, but it almost always is about their strategy, which they have spent 0 time on. mainly because they don't know someone who can help them with strategy. So that's a common thing holding women back, is just not having the right scaling strategy. The third thing is really mastering sales, how you manage your money, and getting your arms around your finances. I like to say getting your arms around your finances because I'm not talking about becoming a CPA or, becoming like an accountant. Most women, that's the least favorite part of their business. That was the case for me. But getting your arms around it is essential, or very bad things can happen. We know that half of all small businesses shut down within 5 years, and women are twice as likely to shut down their businesses because they run out of cash, and especially in an economy like this. And last but not least, if you want to go fast, go solo. But if you want to go far, go together. That is a famous saying. I love it. And it's really about, if you are intent on building a successful business that you can keep growing and also enjoy being with family and take trips and do all the other things you love in life, it's going to be about building a team. So these are the 4 things. I'm curious, which of these 4 feels like the one you need the most help with? Just throw that in the chat so we can take the temperature of the group here. Is it up-leveling your mindset? Believing you can do it? Maybe like me, you didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. Is it figuring out the right strategy? Is there something I haven't thought of? Do you need to get your arms around your money, or do you need to build your team? And maybe, Breen, you could just share with me a little bit what people are writing so I don't have to get distracted.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. So far you have 3 people all said number 3. So getting, selling and arms around the money. And then one person said, building the team. And then one person said create a scaling strategy. Okay, but it does, number 3
it does look like 3 is the winner here. Yes. And again, we've worked with several thousand women, and this is the recurring theme, that finances is our Achilles heel. Sales doesn't even usually come up in the conversation, sadly. I mean, I'm trying to start that conversation now with women to say, are you trained in sales? I was at a live workshop this morning with a number of women, and I said to this woman, are you trained in sales? Which is just a yes or no answer. But she was like, well, I'm really passionate and I like to come in with kind of a coaching approach. And I was like, okay, but that's not sales training. Like, there are actual skills and tools that salespeople use that we can use and grow our businesses that way. So I'm just planting that seed. All right, let's keep going. So we all know that if we keep doing the same thing, right, we're going to get the same results. So if you only take away one thing from this workshop, you're going to have to change some things, change your mindset, change how you do business. And that's where you can get really the big outcomes that you're looking for. So that's what we're going to think about for a minute right now. Let's do this exercise called start, stop, continue. And the way this works is you think of one thing in each category that you want to change in your business. And this is why it's working on the business, right? Not in the business. So I'd like you to just take a moment. I'm going to set my timer for 1 minute. I want you to write down one thing you want to start doing. Maybe it's start posting to social media, start putting in my calendar to go to workshops like this once a month, start looking for that advisory board member. Breen keeps saying, like, post something, and I haven't done it. What's one thing you want to start doing? The stop is pretty obvious, right? Maybe it's stop procrastinating, or stop undercharging, or stop doubting myself. And then continue is like another pat yourself on the back. Like, I'm sure you're doing something really well. So let's honor that too. And I'm going to set my timer for, I'll give you 90 seconds. I'm feeling generous. Thirty more seconds. Okay, we're going to stop there. And this is the exercise you can finish later, because even finding 3 things in each category can be very helpful. And if you have a team, definitely do it with your team or even with your assistant or your virtual assistant. Sometimes people don't want to bring to you like, why are we doing it this way? There's a way more efficient way of doing it. But if you say, hey, let's do start, stop, continue, you might learn something that's really valuable for the business. So I'm going to just voluntold someone. Sarah H, will you share one of your start, stop, continue, or all 3 if you're comfortable?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let's see. One of the things that I would like to continue is being really prompt with customer service requests, because those are just really important. And I do think that we just get a lot out of doing that.
I'm sure they love that. Yes. Good customer service is fantastic. What's your continue?
I'm so sorry. I'm having some interference in the background as far as volume goes, but
No, you're all good.
I'd rather just share my continue if that's okay.
That's all good. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, great. Let's have another one. How about Dana? Dana Fry.
Sorry, it took me a second to get off of mute there.
You're all good. We can
So, I'm planning a go live for my startup in November, and I really need to ramp up my social media presence. And so I'm trying to work on posting every day this month, especially since we're student loan related and this is student loan awareness month and they go back in repayment this month.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. So you're like super seasonal. Got to jump on that.
Got to jump on it and take advantage of the moment. But also I'm not, huge social media person where I understand how to, like, I've got to learn how to do the little videos and real tips and all of those things. And so I'm going, oh God, what do I need to buy? What do I have to do? All of those things. I'm trying to stop feeling the stress around that and just go for it, just do it. And then just keep pushing on all the things that I'm pushing on. So
I love it. What a cool company you have. And, having had to get comfortable myself with all that, it does get easier. But at first it's like, oh, really? I got to do this?
Yeah.
Yes. And I highly encourage you and anyone here who's got something on their start list that they just never seem to get to. If you don't like it and you're not getting to it, you're not going to start liking it, and you're probably not going to start getting to it. So we always recommend that you accept that there are things you don't love in your business that you still have to do, and to find someone to hold you accountable. You can actually hire a virtual assistant for $20 an hour who will hop on a call with you once a week and be like, great, what are we posting to social media this week? And maybe she'll even post it for you. Since that's one of the keys to building $1 million business, knowing how to build and manage a team, great way to start getting practice at that without spending a lot of money. And that will allow you to actually start those things. I do this myself. There are things I don't like. And whenever I don't like it, I hire someone to help me make sure it gets done. So I hope that's helpful, Dana. And I can't wait to see what you post on social media. We'd love to follow you. Throw your Instagram or whatever it is in the chat. We can help build you up on social media.
Thank you very much. It is helpful.
With pleasure. Okay, good. Let's just do one more. Who wants to share? You pick someone, Breen. You probably know some of these fine women.
Yes. Well, and meanwhile, here I can share mine too. I want to stop taking meetings, like stop just taking more and more. Like I feel like I'm constantly taking meetings for work. And so that is like something I always feel like I really need to do is just stop and have like a month stretch where I don't take any meetings with anyone, and I can never seem to do that. And then I guess I really want to start carving out time to project manage things, project manage, even if it's like strategic initiatives. Because for me, it's the project management I hate. So
that's the thing you're not getting to, maybe.
So anyway, I just thought I would just give you mine.
Thank you. Yes. And what's your continue? We want to help you feel good about something you're doing well.
You know what? I guess I misunderstood the request, because I thought I was like, I want to continue. Okay. I got it backwards. I'm sorry about that.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up. Thank you. Yeah, we're supposed to have one of each. And if you do it again later, because you're like, oh, that was helpful to kind of get out of the day-to-day and think about what I want to do, you could do 3 of each. Like when I do this on live retreats, we do 3 of each.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so sorry, I was a bad student.
No,
Okay,
no, you're all good. I didn't explain it well. So what's your continue? What's one thing we're like, you know what? We're doing this pretty well. We want to keep doing, I can think of lots of things for you, but what's one you're proud of?
well, thank you. I guess I really want to continue with just with the collaborative. I feel like we have a great collaborative energy, and we're able to kind of do the jobs of 20 people because we're able to spin a lot of plates simultaneously. So
Completely. Brava. Yes. And I will attest to that as one of your collaborators. So please continue doing that.
you.
Awesome. All right. You guys did great with that. That again is something you can do on your own with team members. Very, very helpful. I'm going to keep us moving here. I had one more testimonial, but I'm not going to play it because I want to get to the part where we do the projections calculator, even though those stories are fun and inspiring. So I'm just going to spend 2 minutes on our accelerator program before we share the projections calculator. This is our 12-week executive MBA-like program that we created because when I wanted to get to $1 million, I had to pay over $50,000, 50, to get the resources I needed. I joined the Entrepreneurs Organization, I hired coaches, I went to Harvard's executive education program. By the time I was done, I'd spent $50,000. Now, I did build a multi-million-dollar company and sell it. It was worth it. But we know most women don't have access to those kind of resources. And why should you have to spend $50,000? So we put everything you need to get to $1 million in one place at a very affordable, attainable amount for any woman business owner. We have some corporate sponsorship that allows us to offer what is essentially a $25,000 value for $6,000 for this executive MBA-like experience. And as you can see, we've had our graduates generate 25 million. We have 5x'd the success rate of getting to 1 million. It's 2% of women get to 1 million. Our women, it's 15%, and a full 50% double their revenues. So if you've been thinking about getting a coach or having help with building your business, this is something you could consider. We have a cohort launching now. And here's what you get. You get the curriculum, you get semi-private coaching with me, mentors who built multi-million-dollar businesses, and you also get access to our community of women who are all focused on revenue generating, selling, doing all the same things you're doing. Several of them are in both Fourth Effect and the network. They're totally complementary. So this is just an affordable way to get that training if you, like me, didn't go to business school and don't have a finance background, but still want to build a 7 or 8 figure business. Because we have this great partnership with the Fourth Effect, and we would like to have many more women from your community and our community, we're heavily discounting this price right now, also because of the quiet recession. It's $3,500 instead of $6,000. So this is a really steep discount. We've never offered this kind of discount before, but we know women need the help more than ever, and we want to make it doable for you. So you can either do that $3,500 up front or 2 payments. If you want to join today and you're like, yes, let's just do this, there's only $500 due up front. And Rachel is with us. She's our COO. So Rachel, maybe you could just say hi in the chat. If you want to set up a call to learn more, or you want to, yes, go for it, just get in touch with Rachel in the chat and we will make sure to get you some more information and perhaps have you join this cohort that has just a few more spots in it. We've been recruiting for the last few weeks, so we're kind of at the tail end. And this is a seasonal thing. So where there's one now, there won't be another one until 2024. So if you're thinking about it at all, please just set up a call and we'll see if it's a good fit for you and your business. There's a couple of bonuses, a sales program that's worth almost $1,000 just to learn how to sell. We throw that in so that you can get started right away making more money, and the 3-month membership in our online network, the network. So now let's move on to the projections calculator. Drum roll, please. I'm going to put the link in the chat to this calculator. And what you're going to do is open it up, make a copy, save it with your company's name on it, and then we're going to tell you what to do. So here it comes in the chat. Oh, it's already there. That was Rachel. Thanks, Rachel. As usual, you're one step ahead of me. Thank you. So we've been using this, as I said, for many years because we found that most women were just flat out not doing projections. And that is, if you're not sure where to start on strategy, this is the best place to start because it allows you to think about how many clients and customers do I need to reach my revenue goals. And what always happens when you fill this out, I'd say 3 things happen. 1, you sleep better at night. Who doesn't want that, right? Whoever lies in bed at night going like, how much am I making right now? Or how many more clients or customers do I need? That does not help. This is a way of getting it all down on paper knowing what you need to achieve. So that's one, you sleep better at night. Two, you know exactly what you're driving at. And I'm sure you've seen in other places in your life when you set a goal and you say, hey, I'm going to run this marathon. I have to run, 10 miles a day and work my way up to 20 miles. Suddenly that becomes achievable. It's the same with projections calculator. When you write down what you're trying to make happen, you have twice the likelihood of making it happen. And the third thing is you might have some big ahas about what is scalable and what is not. It's going to force you to think about your margins without being a bookkeeper or an accountant, what's scalable, what's not, and you might find yourself making some strategy decisions. Please do check in with a mentor or a coach before deciding to completely ditch some aspect of your business, but hopefully it'll get your wheels turning. So did everybody get that? Just say yes in the chat if you got it. And I'm going to open one up so that we can do this together. Great. All right, here we go. I'm going to open up a projections calculator. And if anyone's having any difficulty, we have Rachel here to help with any kind of tech questions. All right, here we go. I am opening up a copy so that we can walk through this together. And if you've already done projections or you already do projections in your business, can you please put that in the chat? I'm just curious if we have anybody here who is already doing projections. Yay, Breen. Fourth Effect is doing projections. Great. Have done in the past. Helen. Well, regardless of whether you've done them or not, this is going to be a template you can use to replace what you're doing, or if you're starting from scratch, it works just as well. So you've got 3 tabs. Oh, actually, this is an older version. Hang on a second. You guys have 3 tabs. The first tab is the instructions, and that just shows you what to do, but you have me here, so don't worry about that. The second tab is what you do to do your own projections. And then the third tab shows you a sample so that you can see, what this looks like when it's all filled out. So I'm going to take you into this version here so we can do it together. And the principle behind it is writing down every single revenue stream so that you can just very much at a glance know how many do you need of each client and customer, and then start to think about what does it take to get here. Our women like to do this at the top of the year. In fact, I used to only teach this at the top of the year, but now we've started teaching it almost once a quarter because we know that many of us think of our business in quarters. This is Q4, last quarter of the year. You can get a lot done in 3 months, right? We've got October, November, December. Billions of dollars are going to change hands in the next 3 months. So let's think about what the best case scenario is for your business and work towards that. Okay, so here we go. The example was a business that did consulting, PR support, and she was looking to get to 409,000 by the end of the year. She started this company in July, and she's on track to do this in part because we made this spreadsheet. So maybe there's someone who wants to play with me here a little. Is there someone who would like to get a little live coaching? Because I can just walk you through it, or we could take someone and we don't have to put the real numbers of what you're charging, but you could just see how it works. And then I could email it to you after. So you have one that's already started. Is there someone who'd like a little bit of live coaching as I walk you through how to do this? Give it a minute. You can put in the chat or just unmute and start talking. Breen, what do you use? Do you use something more complex than this while we wait to see if someone wants a little live coaching?
Right. Yeah, well, so because we have, a number of different memberships and there are different price points, and then there's a company side and a person side, I was looking at this and I was thinking of, for us, we're mapping it out in a spreadsheet. So it is an Excel spreadsheet that we're using. I mean, that ultimately is.
So not that dissimilar, right, to this?
Yeah. So I get
getting into pivot tables and that kind of thing.
Right. We just have, it's just because of, there's like, it's more complex in terms of the formulas because of the complexity of it. But that is exactly what we're doing.
And the other benefit, thank you for sharing that, is once you have this, it's easier to bring in investors, advisors, right? Because no one can see inside your brain. So if you have this vision of what the split is of revenue, or we're going to stop doing strategic workshops and we're going to start doing one-day retreats, that all goes on here and then can be shared with someone who's a potential advisor. Okay, so if nobody wants to volunteer, I'll just walk you through how to do it. So you take every single thing that you sell, and if you change your mind, just pop in the chat. It's not too late. And let's say you do half-day workshops because you're a consultant. So let's say you're going to sell 8 of those during this period, and this one is doing a full year, and this is all just changeable. I could change that. Do be careful not to delete rows because we have columns, we have formulas in there. So if you double click on these cells, you'll see what's called a formula. If you're not an Excel or Google spreadsheet geek like I am, I'm a former fundraiser. I raised 26 million for a variety of nonprofit organizations. So I lived in spreadsheets for 5 years. And that's part of what makes me kind of geek out and like this part. But anyway, if you click on these, it's adding up certain cells. So you don't want to just like delete that because you'd get rid of the formula. So you're just typing over it. So you would type, how many do you think you're going to sell? How much do you charge for each one? It will automatically say how much that revenue is. So let's say you're only charging 2,000. Well, okay, now you're going to make 16,000. Oh, wait, let's raise the price to 8,000. This is why we call this a calculator, right? It's calculating it automatically. You don't have to do any work. Then I do want you to think about what is typically thought of as the margin, but we just called it cost to deliver, so you don't get confused. Cost to deliver is like, okay, do I have to pay someone to come with me to deliver that? And you want to think about, what do I have to print out, or do I have to buy software in order to deliver that? That goes in this column. So now we want to know, how much profit are you making? Well, we probably all know that it's revenue minus, cost to deliver. Now, why are there 2 columns here? Because this is multiplying the cost to deliver each workshop by the number of workshops. So it's all done for you. And here's your profit, magic number. This is kind of cool because it shows you what percentage of your total revenue are these workshops. And this is where women start to have ahas, where we can tell ourselves stories about what the scalable, profitable part of our business is, but sometimes it's not what it actually is. I always like to say the numbers don't lie, right? That's another reason to do this spreadsheet. Someone could go into this exercise thinking, oh yeah, those half-day workshops, that's like huge, and I love them, and they make so much money. And then they look at this and realize, oh wow, that's only actually 18% of my business, and it's not scalable. So this is all a little more art than science in terms of, is it scalable? Is it not scalable? If you don't even know what that means, reach out to us. We'll help you figure that out. But basically, would you need to hire more people, or is it just you delivering it? Then that's not very scalable. If it's tech, or if it's something that can be taught and replicated, like we have 4 coaches in our community, that's one of the reasons it's scalable. It's not just me coaching. So you're going to do that for each of your products or services. And if you have multiple products and services, you can have as many rows as you want. Just add them here. And then it's going to add up for you the total revenue minus whatever you had to pay to deliver those products or services. You get your profit. And here in this column, you can see what are your big revenue drivers. And I was doing this with someone the other day. She had so many rows, and we started looking at it and said, wait, you can't even get all this done. You've got like too many things you're delivering. She consultant does strategic retreats. And she realized that these like 3-month coaching packages she was selling were like 3% of her revenue and took up maybe 40% of her time. So we said, in order to achieve those other things, which each one they pay you $15,000 or $20,000, let's just get rid of that line, right? So sometimes it's about what you have to let go of. When I was at Little Pim and I got my first coach, we had to let go of selling to schools and libraries because it took a whole other sales force, a different type of marketing. I had to go to a whole other set of conferences to meet those people. And as soon as we lopped that off, our direct to consumer, which had a 90% margin, it was back in the DVD days, just spiked up. And that was one of the reasons we got to $1 million. So again, sometimes it's small shifts, but it does require sitting down with someone who's gone through this process before and can help you. So if that's us, great, reach out. If there's someone else you can sit down with, please take them this spreadsheet and go over it together. And I promise you will get some kind of an impact from doing this projections calculator. And we'd love to hear what that is. So, reach out and share after you've done it. So we're going to head off into our days, and thank you again for joining us. Just quick reminder that we have a whole community online of women growing their businesses, just like you, trying to figure out money, mindset, team, strategy, all these same things. So feel free to check that out. That's $99 a month, and the first month is free. And we are partners with Fourth Effect. And we're so glad that you came today.